What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Hoopers Lounge, where today we will be predicting the in season tournament bracket, something that was released earlier this week, where the final 8 teams will do battle for a ginormous cash prize in the city of Las Vegas. So, very excited for the tournament. Last year's tournament was very exciting, and I expect with the teams I'm looking at here, this thing is going to be really good as well. So, really excited to break that down for you guys. But first, we're going to start with some trades and some roster moves that happened in the last 24 hours. First up being Giannis Antetokounmpo reportedly talking about a trade with the Bucks organization. There have been talks that the conversation started all the way back in the offseason. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. There's a bunch of teams that I'm sure would love to trade for a top three player in the league like Giannis. And Alex, what are your thoughts? Do you think this trade will get done this year or something that gets pushed off to the offseason?
So Shams tweeted out today that Giannis and his agent were expected to meet with Bucks leadership to discuss Giannis's future with the team and what that could entail. So Giannis hasn't explicitly requested a trade yet. It's not a sure thing Giannis is going to leave Milwaukee. And I feel like I've seen a notification very similar to this or an alert similar to this pretty often the last 3 years where Giannis is talking about his future in Milwaukee, and yet he always stays. So until I see the notification that Giannis explicitly requested a trade, I think this is all just the media blowing up something that isn't that big of a deal. However, if Giannis were to leave Milwaukee, first of all, I wouldn't blame him. Now would be the ideal time. And second off, this is something that Milwaukee would want to do immediately. Giannis, he was in the midst of a career year. He got hurt. He just came back from injury. But the Bucks are in the midst of a 7 game losing streak. After starting the season 8-5, they've now slid down to, I believe, 8-12, if I'm remembering correctly. Last I checked, and they're currently sitting outside of the playoff picture in what was expected to be the weakest Eastern Conference that the NBA has seen in years. So, with that being said, Milwaukee needs to make this trade because it's clear they're not going to be able to contend with or without Giannis this year. Unfortunately, that's the hard truth. And if Milwaukee wants to not be stuck in NBA purgatory, not be constantly battling for a play-in seed the next couple of years, they need to make this trade. They need to get as many future assets and young players as they can for it. And I hope it's not, but it does seem like Giannis' time in Milwaukee is coming to an end.
Yeah, they currently sit at 9-13, currently in 11th in the Eastern Conference. So that puts them only one game out of the play-in, with a lot of basketball to be played. But I agree, it seems like Giannis's time in Milwaukee is slowly dying down, and I can think of just off the top of my head a bunch of teams that would put their name in the hat and at least give Milwaukee a call to try and get Giannis. The other piece of news I wanted to talk about was Chris Paul getting cut. And this was kind of a surprise because he's on a retirement tour with the Clippers, and he already said that this is his last season. I don't know if a contender is going to pick up somebody like Chris Paul. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we've seen Chris Paul play his last game in the NBA, as unfortunate as this is. And let me just say, the Clippers did Chris Paul dirty. Because we have an NBA legend, a consensus top 5 point guard of all time in Chris Paul, who was arguably the best Clipper ever at the time that he played for the Clippers. Now you can make the case that it's Kawhi Leonard, but for a long time, the best player in Clipper history was Chris Paul. He came back to the franchise that he made relevant for one last go around, one last ride, and Tyronn Lue was giving him DNP's coach's decision, and now he's cut. Just a terrible ending to what is an undisputably a Hall of Fame career for Chris Paul. It is sad to see him go out this way. He has kind of been in the kind of a mentorship position in the last couple of years as his game has taken decline. And with the Clippers sitting at 5-15, I guess they just didn't think that his mentorship was worth keeping him on the roster. I don't know, but I think the Clippers did him dirty. I think he joined the team he made relevant for one last go around. That's a team that is going to be recognized as Chris Paul is going to be known as a Clipper. And yeah, I don't know. I don't like the move just as a basketball standpoint. I wanted to see Chris Paul have one last go around.
Yeah, I agree. I thought even if you don't play him, or even if you play him off the bench 5 minutes a night, like I still think he should have been a member of the roster for all 82 games. Especially for a team that isn't very good. It's not like they're gonna sign somebody that's gonna turn their season around with that roster spot. So I'm interested to see if somebody picks him up. But I agree. I think Chris Paul, his season and career are probably over after getting cut.
And something that came to mind was I remember back in 2019 when Dirk Nowitzki and Dwayne Wade were retiring, Adam Silver actually gave them both honorary All-Star selections. And I thought that this year, especially with the new format where there's not exactly 16 Americans and 8 internationals, that Adam Silver would then select people to get those numbers up to par. I thought that would be a perfect way to get Chris Paul in as an honorary member. But now that he's not even on a roster, I don't know if that can happen. So, yeah, just unfortunate all around.
Yeah, I don't see Adam Silver getting Chris Paul into the All-Star game. But it'll be interesting to see, what happens and, who picks him up. So with that being said, we will go right into the in-season tournament predictions as advertised at the beginning of the show. This tournament kicks off on Tuesday, December 9th, and it will end on Tuesday, December 16th. So a week in total for the entire tournament. That consists of 8 teams, being the Miami Heat, the Orlando Magic, the New York Knicks, the Toronto Raptors, the Phoenix Suns, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Los Angeles Lakers. Those 8 teams will be competing for the championship this year. That was won last year by the Indiana Pacers. So, Alex, the first game...
The in-season tourney last year?
I think it was won by the Pacers. Or did they lose in the championship to the Lakers?
That was the first year. Last year, the Bucks won, beat the Thunder in the finals.
Oh, well, that tells you how much I watched the in-season tournament. Last year, the Bucks won.
That tells you how important it is, too.
Yeah. So, did the Pacers win it the first year, or was that the Lakers, too?
No, Lakers did. Lakers won it the first year.
Okay.
Bucks won it last year, and this is the third year the in-season tournament
has
been in play.
Everything I just said, and let's get into some predictions, starting with the first game, the Miami Heat at Orlando. All these first-round games are in their home arenas, so we don't get to Vegas till the semifinals. And this one, I'm taking the Magic. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I think Miami's good, but I like Orlando. I like what they've been doing the last couple weeks, and even without Paolo, I think they can get it done at home. What do you think?
Yeah, the Magic get home court advantage because they're the 1 seed. They emerged as the top seed in the Eastern Conference, and Miami slid into the quarterfinals as the 4 seed. In this specific matchup, I also like the Magic. Miami has been one of the surprises early in the season. They have been contending without Tyler Hero, as Norman Powell has emerged as a potential all-star candidate in the East. And now Hero's back from injury, so that should only theoretically boost the Heat offense. However, I think it is going to take some time to reintegrate Hero back into the offense, and him and Powell kind of figure out how to play 1A, 1B basketball together. The Magic, on the other hand, ever since Paolo Banchero went down to injury, they have looked like the best team in the East. And I'm not saying they're better without Banchero, but I am saying that if in a 1-game shootout, they have a better chance of winning without Banchero than with him. So give me the Magic. Franz Wagner is going to have a great game. The supporting players on the Magic are stepped up. Tristan da Silva has looked really good in a starting role. And yeah, I think the Magic, first of all, they need to figure out how to fit Banchero into this offense. Whether it's him as an individual player, if it's his issues, or it's just a coaching issue. However, that's a future issue. Looking at the in-season tournament, I like the Magic to take down the Heat.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of things you said. They've looked really good without Paolo after those first couple games. They figured out how to play without him. Guys are hitting more shots, and it'll be interesting to see how they play in the in-season tournament. Next game up is the Knicks at the Raptors, and I'm going with the Raptors here. I really like what I've seen from them this season. And the Knicks, really my problem with them is they can't win on the road. They are one of the worst road teams in the NBA this season. And I really like the combination of Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, and Scotty Barnes. Now, RJ Barrett's been out for a while, and I'm not sure if he'll be back for this game. But they've been just fine without him. Quickly's playing good. The bench is playing good. They're at home. That crowd's going to be fired up to play the Knicks in a meaningful in-season tournament game. So give me the Raptors at home to advance to the second round of the in-season tournament.
Yeah, the Raptors, talking about them as they're a contender, not what we expected coming into the season, but they have looked great to start the year. As you said, Emmanuel Quickly has looked really good as a starting point guard. Their starting wing trio of RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, and Scotty Barnes, when they all play together, they look really good. Barnes has kind of evolved into a jack of all trades, while Ingram can kind of carry the scoring load. RJ Barrett has been out, but like you said, the team hasn't really missed a step. The one area of weakness for the Raptors is their big man position. And the Knicks have a big man that should be able to take advantage of it in Karl-Anthony Towns. The issue, he has not looked like himself this year. He has shot the three ball very poorly. He's getting into foul trouble almost every game. And Karl-Anthony Towns, he's a five-time All-Star. I don't think he's going to make the All-Star game this year. He's just been that poor for a Knicks squad that has, at least according to their record, been underwhelming to start the year. I have Karl-Anthony Towns as the X factor. If he can look like his normal self, I don't think the Raptors have anyone that can stop him. Jalen Brunson will do Jalen Brunson things. Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart will hit open threes. But if Karl-Anthony Towns can put up a 25-point double-double, I think that'll be enough to push the Knicks over. And I'm going to predict that to happen. I think the Knicks need Karl-Anthony Towns to step up at some point in the season. And what better time than the NBA Cup quarterfinals for Karl-Anthony Towns to have a vintage game?
Yeah.
Giving the Knicks to upset the Raptors at home and make it to the Eastern Conference semis.
Yeah, so
or
the one stat that I was basing it off of, the Raptors are 8-2 at home. The Knicks are 3-6 on the road. The numbers don't lie there. One really good home team, one really poor road team. So I think the home crowd's going to be the difference for the Raptors. They're going to play better in their home gym, and they're going to advance to the next round. Moving over to the Western Conference games, which are on Wednesday, December 10th. The first one up is the Suns at the Thunder, and I don't know if we really have to preview this one very long because the Thunder are a juggernaut, and we talked about this a lot last episode. I don't think they're going to lose to Phoenix at home in this game. Hell, they might give out free t-shirts like it's a playoff game. I don't know what's going to happen there, but the atmosphere is going to be great, and I think the Thunder are going to win this game pretty easily.
Yeah, the Thunder sweeping every team in their group in the group play portion of the Cup. They have, like you said, look like a juggernaut. We talked about it last episode, how it just looks like Thunder or the field at this point. They just look that dominant. They just got Jalen Williams back from injury too, which should, in theory, only make the team better than it already was. And the team was 20-1 without him. So that's a terrifying thought. The Phoenix Suns have been one of the bigger surprises to start the year. I had them as a second to last team preseason in the Western Conference. I thought very little of the Suns, but they have emerged as not just a play-in team, but contending for a playoff spot in the loaded Western Conference, which the emergence of Dillon Brooks stepping up as a good second option and just a more cohesive team, playing more team ball rather than Booker and Durant kind of carrying the offensive load, I think has produced to just better team chemistry and is leading to more team wins. So the Suns, one of the better stories to start the year. But it's the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm not about to pick against them. And that's before the news that just came out a few minutes ago that Devin Booker is expected to miss at least a week due to a groin strain. So there's a chance that Devin Booker might not even be available for this game. If Devin Booker was available, I would take the Thunder by 20. If he's not available, I'll take the Thunder by 30. I don't think it's going to be very close.
Yeah, I think the Suns might be able to keep it close for the first half, and then that might be it. And moving on to the fourth and final game of the quarterfinals, this one was the hardest one for me to pick, is the Spurs traveling to LA to face the Lakers. And there were reports, obviously, with the Wembanyama injury that he will not be playing in the in-season tournament, but he should be back before Christmas, is something that I read earlier today. So that's great news for the Spurs. And with that news being said, I'll take the team with Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, one of the best backcourt duos in the league, to win a close one. I think the Spurs will keep this very competitive, very close, but I like Luka to close it out in the fourth and advance.
The Wemby has been out since November 16th with his calf injury, and the Spurs have gone 6-2 without him, which is pretty surprising. I didn't think the Spurs have much depth surrounding Wemby, but they're showing that they have a very strong team surrounding their superstar. And that is exactly what a team wants to see when they're looking to see if they can contend for a title. So the Spurs love to see that even without Wemby, they're still winning games. But the Lakers have Luka Doncic, who is playing out of his mind. He is looking like a frontier MVP candidate along with Shea and Jokic. And they have Austin Reeves, who has made a jump into, at the very least, all-star conversations, if not all NBA conversation at this point of the season. Reeves has kind of slowed down as Doncic has gotten back in the picture, but I mean, that's to be expected. Reeves wasn't going to be averaging 40 points a game the rest of the season. And he's still averaging, I think, close to 25, if not over 25. So as a secondary option, he's doing a great job. LeBron is back for the Lakers as well, and he's playing like a jumbo-sized Rajon Rondo, which, if you're the Lakers, that is exactly what you want to see. You want to see LeBron, who has been an elite passer his entire career, be able to carry the offense through his playmaking rather than his scoring, and let the two elite scorers and Doncic and Reeves handle that part. This is probably the best that the Lakers could have hoped that their offense looked for at this point of the season. This is the best start to the season that they could have hoped for, and I think it's going to continue by beating the Wembanyama-less Spurs in the quarterfinals and moving on.
All right, so moving on to the semifinals, we have the same matchup in the Western Conference. So let's start there. Thunder versus Lakers is our hypothetical semifinal, which will take place in Las Vegas. So no home court advantage for this one. And this one, again, was really tough for me to pick. These are the two top teams in the West, and I think on a neutral site, that definitely gives the Lakers a little bit of help. But I'm still taking the best team in the league right now, and that's Oklahoma City to win. I think this game will be really close. Luka versus Shea is bound to put on a show, and I don't think this is going to be as one-sided as maybe people would look at it, just with how well the Thunder have played. But give me Oklahoma City to win a close one against the Lakers here in Vegas.
Luka's averaging 30, close to, I think, 35 points a game. Reeves might make his first All-Star game. They still have LeBron James. It doesn't matter. Give me the Thunder by 15 plus.
Wow.
I think this team is genuinely going to go down as one of the best in NBA history. I think they're, maybe not in terms of talent, but in terms of the gap they have in terms of the rest of their competition. This Thunder team is just that much better. The addition of Jalen Williams is, I would say, game-changing. How much more game-changing can you get from a 20-1 start? Like they're on a 13-game win streak right now. It doesn't look like it's ending anytime soon because most of these wins are coming with Shea sitting the entire fourth quarter. Like it doesn't seem fair how much better this Thunder team is than anybody else in the league. So until they give me a reason not to, I'm picking the Thunder.
Yep, I'm with you there. And then Eastern Conference semifinal, we have a little bit of a different matchup. He has Magic Knicks. I have Magic Raptors. So, Alex, I'll let you start off with your prediction here for this one.
Yeah, Magic Knicks, two teams that have kind of started off the season maybe not where they're hoping for. The Knicks coming off their Eastern Conference Finals appearance, and the Magic, after trading 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane, kind of in the middle of the pack of the Eastern Conference, and both had, at the very least, Eastern Conference Finals aspirations. So both of these teams might be using this in-season tournament, hopefully to use as a launch pad or a springboard for the rest of the year, and build some momentum and build an early season winning culture. So important game for both teams as they try to get back their way to the top of the Eastern Conference, And I was very high on the Magic all off season. And then they started off bad, made me look stupid. And then they've looked really good since Banchero got hurt. Franz Wagner has genuinely looked like an all-NBA candidate. He has balled. And I think the case is there that he right now is a better player than Paolo Banchero, that he can help a team win more right now than Paolo Banchero can. Well, we talked about this in the offseason. That is a hard thing to sell when you invested so much time, energy, and money into Paolo, making him the number one pick in the face of your franchise. But Franz Wagner looks elite. The supporting cast around him looks so much better playing with him. And I think that the Magic are going to beat the Knicks without Paulo, and that is going to be very, very telling for the Magic organization on what to maybe do if this Franz Paulo pairing they can't figure it out. I say give me the Magic to go to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking about it all offseason that Franz and Paolo are not going to be able to play for the Magic together very much longer. I think they invested in Desmond Bain to be able to ship Franz or Paolo out the door. And Franz, like you said, is just outplaying Paolo right now. And it sucks that Paolo's hurt and can't really, outplay Franz. But sometimes that's what happens. Guys go down and others step up. And that's how, you make your mark in the league. So I'm with you there. I think this could be a statement game for Orlando. Unfortunately, for me, they're not playing the Knicks. They're playing the Raptors. And I think the Raptors match up really well against the Magic. I think Scotty Barnes is the exact type of player you want to guard someone as red hot as Franz Wagner. And I like the Raptors to beat the Magic and head to the finals. There's always a team in these in-season tournaments, I feel like, that shouldn't make it as far as they do, and I think this year it'll be Toronto. They've been really good throughout the year, and they've been beating teams in close games. I think this would be another close one, and I like Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes over the combination of Desmond Bain and Franz Wagner right now. So give me Toronto in a close one to face Oklahoma City. Alex, who do you have taking home the in-season tournament championship?
Yeah, I just want to touch on that before I have my winner. The in-season tournament is single elimination, so it's almost like March Madness in that you never know what can happen. On any given day, any team can be any team. On paper, a team might be more talented, but if you're playing one game for all the marbles, anything can happen. So the Magic might, on paper, look like they would beat the Raptors in a 7-game series. But the Magic and the Raptors in a one-off game to move on, I would take the Raptors too. So I don't hate that pick at all that you made for them to go to the finals. I think their wings match up really well with Orlando. But yeah, I didn't have the Raptors beating the Knicks, so that doesn't matter. But Raptors, nice surprise for the start of the season. They are second or third in the East right now, have a couple potential All-Stars with Ingram and Scotty Barnes. I have the Magic, who have a potential All-Star in Franz Wagner. Desmond Bain has stepped up since Banchero's injury. His three-pointer's coming back. But you know who they're going against? The Oklahoma City Thunder. So it doesn't matter. Give me the Thunder by 15 plus. Because what can you do? What can you do against SGA, Chet, J-Dub, AJ Mitchell, Aaron Wiggins, Alex Caruso, Hartenstein, the defending champions? We've talked about them last episode. We're going to talk about them a lot more in the future. There's not much more that needs to be said right now. Give me the Thunder to win it all.
Yeah, I was going to pick the Raptors just to be spicy, but I've made enough dumb picks on this show to switch. So I'm going to take the Thunder like a good little person would do and just pick them, like you said, 15-20 plus. I think they'll destroy the Raptors on a neutral site. Maybe the Raptors keep it close, but I don't think other than Brandon Ingram, no one on the Raptors can get a bucket against this Thunder defense like at will. And I think if they stop Brandon Ingram, it'll be a 40-point rout. So give me the Thunder to win the in-season tournament championship. I'm hoping they don't destroy everyone on their path, but it looks like they're going to destroy everyone till June. So it'll be interesting to see who gives them the best fight here. So we're both on the Thunder to win the in-season tournament.
I don't even know if Ingram will be able to get a bucket against the Thunder. The Thunder's defense is that good. I see a lot of graphics on Instagram showing players' box scores that are going off. I have like a 5 or 6 game stretch where they're putting up insane numbers. But then they'll block out one game is because they play the Thunder and shot like 1 of 12 or 2 of 15 or something like that from the field. Crazy. And that just doesn't go with their with their agenda that they're trying to push. The Thunder's defense is generationally good, is going to go down as one of the best we have ever seen. And it's showing in their record. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's Thunder versus the field at this point.
Yeah, and I think in an 8-team field, I'll take the Thunder here to close it out in Vegas and avenge their loss of last season. I didn't even know they're going to avenge their loss from last year in the finals against Milwaukee. So, All right, that's our preview.
Will he be the first? Will he be the first team to win the in-season tournament and the NBA Finals in the same year, though?
No.
Or are they going to complete the perfect season?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No, I don't think so. That's too good of a season. You can't win the in-season tournament, break the regular season win record, and win the NBA Finals all in 1 year. That's
too many banners to put up.
That's too many banners. That's too many banners.
They want to have space.
That's too many banners. So that's our preview for the in-season tournament, and now we'll kick it over to Alex for crunch time, where he's put together a little blind ranking for us this evening.
We got a blind ranking for Max, categorized by players that we will see playing in the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup. So these are all players from within the 8 teams that we just previewed, predicted, and you're going to rank them blindly.
Yeah, I have 2 questions. First, how many players are there? 10 or 5?
10.
10. And are we counting players that are currently injured?
Yes. However, I don't think I have any that are currently injured.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Good to know. Because there are some guys on these teams that are hurt. So this is gonna be tough.
like I don't have Devin Booker on this list, for example. Okay. He's a player that is going to be playing in the quarterfinals.
There's a lot of good players on these teams.
Hurt,
there's a lot of good players on these teams. All right.
So we're going to start off with a lot of good players. Like you said, we're going to start off with a good player. Let's give you Shai Gilgeous-Alexander the first spot.
All right. So my thought process is there's only one player in this field that I would take over him, and that's Luka. Just because I think Luka right now is higher in the MVP ladder than Shai, but I could be wrong about that. So because there's 10 players, like there's only one guy I'm putting ahead of Shai. I'm going to put Shai at 1. And if I have to put Luka 2 later down the line, I think that's okay. So I'm going to put Shai 1 because I don't think I'll get a lot of flack for that. 1. Yeah.
I don't think you have a lot of arguments with that. I mean, there's not many better players than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the NBA, much less this 8-team field.
Yeah.
So next up, we have Anthony Black on the Magic.
All right. So Anthony Black's actually been pretty good for them off the bench. He's a good 2-way player for the Magic, but he's nothing special. And there's at least one All-Star on like all 8 of these teams, I would say, which is crazy. So Anthony Black's got to be in the bottom 3. I'll put him at I just don't know if there's any like absolute bums on here. We'll put Anthony Black at 8. I like that at 8.
Anthony Black at 8. A player that has stepped up in the absence of Paolo Banchero for the Magic. His contribution has been much needed in their rise back up the Eastern Conference. Anthony Black at 8. Next up, we have Miami Heat's Pelle Larsson.
See, all right. I think Anthony Black's probably been better than Larsson this season. So I'm glad I kind of snuck Black up a couple. Honestly, I don't know if there's going to be anyone worse than Larsson on this list. I'm going to put him at 10.
At 10?
Yeah.
Anthony Black has definitely better than Pelle Larsson this year to answer that probability. That's not much of a contest. So we have 1 in 10 already off the board. Everything else is going right in the middle. Next up, we have Desmond Bane, another Orlando Magic player.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. He's beautiful for the list I have right now. So Bane, like there's definitely a couple guys I would take over him. I definitely think he's better than Anthony Black. It's between 5 or 6 for me. I just don't know how many like really good players we're going to get. We're going to put Desmond Bane right at the middle, number 5 for Desmond Bane. I really like that spot for him.
Yep. 5 for Bane. All right. Next up, we have Emmanuel Quickley.
Oh, all right, great. He's been amazing for the Raptors this year. I'm pretty sure he just had a monster game. Was it last night? I want to say he had a monster game last night. I'm looking right in between Bane and Black for Quickley, and I think he's closer to Desmond Bane than he is to Anthony Black. I want to pull up his stats from last night, see if I get this right. Emmanuel Quickley had 23, 5, and 8 last night on 11 shots. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Monstrous game.
That's
that's efficient.
That's pretty good for a guy who's his third option on his team without RJ Barrett. So that's pretty good. I'm gonna throw him at 6. I like Quickly at 6. I kind of thought about putting him over Bane, but I do think Desmond Bane's a better player. So we'll throw him at 6.
All right, Emmanuel Quickly at 6. Next up, the man who dunked on LeBron in the Olympics, Gershon Yabusele.
All right, this is bad because I may have, after Shea, I may have underestimated the amount of bangers. Like, there's still Brunson, there's still De'Aaron Fox, there's still Luka, there's still Austin Reeves, there's still LeBron, there's still Franz Wagner, there's still Jalen Williams, there's still Chet Holmgren. There's so many players. I'm putting Yabusele at 9. He did dunk on LeBron, but this is bad. If you give me another bum, I'm in trouble.
All right, next up, we are hoping for non-bums. Well,
correct.
I don't know. The definition of a bum is subjective, so I'll let you make the call on this one, because next up, we have AJ Mitchell.
Not a bum. And I think for the sake of this ranking, I can't put him at 7. And you know what? For the future 6th man of the year, I think I could put him in the top 4. So I'll put him at 4 above Desmond Bane. That's actually not awful.
I like that ranking, and I think the argument could be made that AJ Mitchell has straight up been better than Desmond Bane this year. So I think even if you were just ranking all these players, knowing them, I think that argument could be made.
Yeah, he's definitely in that tier of player this year, but I think for the sake of the ranking, I have to put him at 4.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we're still hoping for non-bums. So again, I'll let you make a decision. Bum or not, we have Luka Doncic.
Yeah, no bum. All right, I'm so glad that he's here. Putting him at 2, that was the exact situation we mapped out when he said Shea. I would switch Luka and Shea right now in my mind. I think Luka is playing better than him. However, I already put Shea 1, so we'll put Luka 2. That's very good. And now my ranking is looking pristine. The ranking is looking pristine right now.
Hey, I'm just going to give you credit for that Shea pick because you predicted it, event for event, what was going to happen. You called Luka Doncic coming into play, so I'll give you credit where credit's due. That was an impressive call there. We got 2 spots left, number 3 and number 7. 2 players next. The second to last player, we have the villain himself, Dillon Brooks.
Oh, God. All right, this is so hard. I feel like he's a perfect 7. But the problem is if I don't get a good player at 3, the list could be cooked. And Dillon Brooks has been, dare I say, a borderline all-star this season. Like,
okay, we need to slow it down a bit.
He's been good.
He's had some good games.
He's been good.
He's not borderline all-star. Let's stop a little bit.
All right. While I think about where to rank him, I want to pull up his averages right now because he's been a borderline all-star.
He's had some 30-point games this year as a second option behind Booker. He's not a borderline all-star.
All right. How many points do you think Dillon Brooks is averaging this season? Just off the dome.
22.
All right. That's actually correct. 22. He's only averaging 1 assist and 3 rebounds, but he is a great defender, too. He's a great defender, too.
One assist, bro. 1 assist. Don't get out of here with
So, all right. Borderline all-star, bro. Okay? Borderline all-star for Dillon Brooks.
Okay. We're going to disagree there.
But because there's so many players better than Dillon Brooks that you haven't mentioned yet, I'm throwing him at 7. And I just want to say this right now. If this is somebody better than AJ Mitchell but worse than Luka Doncic, I think this is the greatest ranking I've ever done. If this is someone that fits that category, I think this is the greatest ranking I've ever put together.
Better than AJ Mitchell, worse than Luka Doncic is what we're hoping for at number 3. We have De'Aaron Fox.
Yes!
Actually, a goated ranking.
Okay.
This is an unbelievable performance.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that
AJ
performance.
Mitchell at 4 was an incredible, hell of a play. Credit where credit's due.
I mean, you could nitpick if you wanted to, but recency bias aside, I actually think that's my greatest blind ranking of all time. That was an amazing display from your boy there.
At number 1, we have Shea. At number 2, we have Luka Doncic. 3, De'Aaron Fox. 4, AJ Mitchell. 5, Desmond Bane. 6, Emmanuel Quickly. 7, Dillon Brooks. 8 Anthony Black, 9 Gershon Yabusele, and 10 Pele Larson. If I were to give you those 10 players and say rank them, your ranking will look very similar to that list. So that is a hell of a blind ranking.
Yeah.
I'll give credit what credit's due.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I tip my hat to my team that put in the work in the preseason, really prepared me for this moment. And I just want to say thank you to all the supporters, because this doesn't happen every day. This type of performance does not happen every day. So
yeah, that offseason work you put in clearly paid off.
Yep, absolutely. That was a fire list. Shout out to all the guys that were ranked today accurately. Dylan Brooks, my borderline all-star. Way to pencil you in right there. And I'm trying to think if I were to rank these guys like 1 through 5, I think I would switch Bane for Mitchell and I would switch Shea for Luka. I think that's it. I think that's all I would do.
Okay, so you'd keep your borderline all-star at number 7?
Maybe switch him with Quickly, but I don't think he's been better than AJ Mitchell this year, actually, now that you say that. So
yeah, okay. At least we're in agreement on that now.
Yeah,
because that borderline all-star take had me questioning reality for a second.
He did just cook the Lakers like 2 nights ago for like 33. He did just cook them.
He's had a couple 30-point games, but everybody in the league has 30-point games. That doesn't make you an all-star at this point.
Pele Larson has not had a couple 30-point games, dog.
I think Pele Larson has had like a 25-point game or very
all right,
close
maybe
to a
in his
30-point
career,
game.
but like not this season. No way. I don't know. Maybe that's why Miami's playing good.
Yeah. Well, that'll wrap up this episode for the Hoopers Lounge. We look forward to the NBA Cup. Quarterfinals are coming up. Let us know your predictions for the NBA Cup. What teams do you have advancing? It's an exciting time in the NBA. We have All-Star game coming up in 2 months. Next episode, we'll have our way too early All-Star predictions. So tune in for that.
Yep.
And we'll see you guys then.
Yep.
Peace.
Peace out, guys. Just wait till I put Dylan Brooks on my roster.
Okay.